Welcome back to Audiobook Bay. Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson seems simple on the surface, but it hits incredibly hard when you're facing change. It starts as a parable and becomes a personal wake-up call. If you're feeling stuck, resistant to change, or holding onto something that isn't working anymore, this book is absolutely for you. The title itself is the core metaphor. Cheese represents what you want in life. A good job, a relationship, money, security, anything that makes you feel fulfilled. The maze is life itself. And the central tension is this: the cheese always moves, always. What worked yesterday doesn't work today. The only constant in life is change. Most of us have been conditioned to want stability and the cheese to stay in one place forever. But Johnson is saying that's not reality. The faster you accept that change is inevitable, the better you'll be at navigating it. The slower you are to adapt, the more you'll suffer. Your ability to deal with change determines whether you thrive or get stuck. Let me break this down. Takeaway 1. Change is inevitable and clinging to the old cheese will starve you. This is the central truth Johnson drives home. Change isn't a bad thing that happens sometimes. Change is constant. The cheese moved before and it will keep moving in the future. Your choice isn't whether change happens. Your choice is whether you move with it or stay behind denying reality. Johnson uses characters in his parable to show this beautifully. There are two mice who move with the cheese without drama or resistance. They simply notice the cheese moved and they follow it. Then there are two humans who resist. They believe someone will return the cheese. They believe it's unfair. They're angry about it. Meanwhile, the mice already eat new cheese elsewhere. The cheese movers aren't necessarily smarter or more talented. They're just willing to accept reality faster. Identify one area of your life where you're resisting change. It could be a job market that's shifted, a relationship that's evolved, a technology you don't want to learn, or a life circumstance you can't control. Now commit to accepting that this change is real and it's not reversing. Acceptance is the first step toward adaptation. Takeaway 2. Anticipate change before it happens. Johnson introduces the concept of paying attention to signals and early warnings that change is coming. Before the cheese is gone, there's a period where it gets smaller. Before a job disappears, there are economic signals. Before a relationship ends, there are disconnections. But most people don't pay attention until it's too late. Think about someone who worked in retail before e-commerce took off. The signals were there. The internet was growing, online shopping was coming, but they ignored it. They believed retail would always be the way it was. Then suddenly the cheese was gone and they were unprepared. Versus someone who paid attention to those signals early and started learning e-commerce skills, pivoting toward digital. Same industry change, completely different outcomes. Your action is to develop what Johnson calls your smelling station. It's your awareness of early warning signs. This week, identify one major area of your life where change is already happening but hasn't hit you hard yet. Maybe it's technology in your field. Maybe it's your health declining slightly. Maybe it's a relationship cooling. Acknowledge what you're smelling. Don't ignore it. Takeaway 3. Life is a maze and the cheese is what you want. This metaphor goes much deeper than just jobs or material stuff. The maze is complexity, the unknown, the obstacles. Cheese is your goal, your desire, whatever represents success or satisfaction to you. The maze changes, walls shift, old paths that used to work are now blocked. You have to navigate. The maze isn't the problem. It's reality. Some people freeze, it's too complex. Others accept it and explore, testing paths, moving forward. They get lost sometimes but find cheese. Those afraid to move through the maze never find anything. Your action is to ask yourself a fundamental question. What's your cheese right now? What are you actually trying to find? Be specific. Not vague dreams but concrete goals. A new skill, a career change, better health, a different relationship situation. Name the cheese. Then ask yourself, am I willing to navigate the maze to get there? If yes, what's one path I haven't tried yet? Takeaway 4. Fear versus action is the real choice you're facing. Johnson gets very real about this. When the cheese moves, fear shows up immediately. What if the new path is wrong? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough for this new situation? Fear is natural. The question isn't whether you feel it. The question is whether you move despite it or let it paralyze you. One character is paralyzed by fear and stays where old cheese was, starving, because it's familiar. The other is scared too, but recognizes moving is scarier than staying. They move, make mistakes, and find new cheese. What's something you're not doing because you're afraid? Acknowledge the fear and ask, am I more afraid of change or staying where I am? Sometimes the pain of staying exceeds the fear of moving. When that happens, move. Takeaway 5. The longer you wait to change, the harder it gets. Johnson emphasizes timing here. If you notice the cheese is getting smaller and you start adapting immediately, the shift is manageable. But if you wait, hoping the cheese will come back, the problem compounds. You're in worse shape and the change is more dramatic. If you notice skills becoming obsolete and start learning immediately, you upskill while employed. But if you wait until laid off, you're learning under crisis with fewer options and lower confidence. Gradual change becomes survival crisis. Where are you waiting? Where are you hoping things reverse instead of preparing? Pick one area, waiting for a relationship to fix itself or a technology to disappear. Decide right now to stop waiting. Take one action toward adapting instead of hoping. Takeaway 6. Noticing small changes helps you adapt to big ones. Johnson talks about developing sensitivity to the signals. The cheese doesn't just disappear. It's moving slowly over time. If you're paying attention to the small movements, the big change doesn't shock you. Your company talks about automating processes. Small signal. If you learn automation tools, you're ready when change comes. Ignore it and you're blindsided. Same change, different impact based on noticing small signals. This week, pay attention to small signals in career, health, relationships, finances. What's changing slightly? What are early warning signs? Write them down. Then decide, do I respond now or wait for the big change? Takeaway 7. Move with the cheese, let go of the old, embrace the new. This might sound simple, but it's not. Humans are creatures of habit and want things to stay the same. Johnson is saying that's not how life works, so stop fighting it. Move with the cheese and let go of old habits that aren't working anymore. One character keeps smelling the old cheese spot, hoping it returns. He's nostalgic and bitter, stuck in the past while mice adapt to new cheese. The new cheese isn't better or worse, just different. Refusing to accept the difference costs him everything. Identify what old cheese you need to let go of. What belief or habit used to work but doesn't anymore? Release it. Acknowledge it served you, but it's time to move on. Consciously shift energy toward the new way. Takeaway 8. Enjoy the adventure. The search for new cheese is part of life. This is Johnson's secret to happiness. People who suffer most through change are the ones who see it as disaster. But Johnson presents a different perspective. What if the journey is the experience? What if adapting and growing is the point, not finding cheese? The mice in the story don't complain about the maze or get upset that the cheese moved. They just start exploring and discovering. In exploring, they discover new areas, new possibilities, new cheese. They're not suffering through the search. They're alive in the search. They're engaged. And that makes all the difference in their well-being. Reframe the change you're facing. Instead of getting back to how things were, ask what you could discover, learn, or become. What's the adventure in career change? What's the freedom in ending a relationship? What capability comes with new technology? The adventure mindset changes everything. Takeaway 9. Old beliefs trap you in old behaviors. This is Johnson's insight about why change is so hard for people. You believe the world works a certain way, behavior fits that belief, and results confirm it. You're stuck in a loop because the belief prevents you from seeing other options. Someone believes change is dangerous, resists it, and when it happens anyway, it's dangerous because they are unprepared. That confirms their belief. Someone who believes change is opportunity adapts, stays ready, finds change manageable. That confirms their belief. Different belief, completely different life. Examine your beliefs about change. Do you believe you navigate it or it happens to you? Are you adaptable or rigid? Is the future to fear or create? Pick one limiting belief and consciously adopt a different one. Act from that new belief for 1 week. Takeaway 10. The handwriting on the wall is wisdom from those who moved first. This is Johnson's message about learning from others who have already adapted to change. Usually when you're facing change, someone else has already been through it. They've learned lessons, moved their cheese, found what works. Look at the handwriting on the wall and skip some hard learning. This might be mentors, books, online communities, or people who have successfully navigated the exact change you're now facing. They're like guides who have already gone through the maze. If you listen to them, if you follow their wisdom, you move faster. But so many people ignore the handwriting on the wall. They think their situation is unique. They think they have to figure it out themselves. And they end up starving while the mice who listen to the warnings are already eating new cheese. Your action is to find the handwriting on the wall for the change you're facing. Who has successfully adapted to this situation already? What did they learn? Who can guide you? This week, reach out to one person who's already navigated the change you're facing. Listen to their story, learn from their wisdom, then apply it. Change is happening right now. Not later, not eventually. Right now, the cheese is moving. The only question is whether you're moving with it, paying attention to the signals, willing to navigate the maze, and willing to let go of what was and embrace what is. Stop resisting the inevitable and start anticipating it. The fastest, easiest, most fulfilled life comes from moving with change, not against it. That's the whole message. That's everything. If this perspective shifted something for you, subscribe to Audiobook Bay and let me know in the comments. What's your cheese right now? And what small changes are you already noticing that you need to respond to? The maze is there either way. You might as well move through it consciously.